back to the show, everybody. Well, in Canada's criminal court system, the legal process typically ends when the trial ends. But for survivors of abuse who testify, their own process of healing has only just begun.
Yes, and our next guest is a social worker trying to fill the gap in post-court therapy for young survivors of abuse, and she's here to tell us all about it. Please welcome Alison Albright to the show. Welcome. Good to have you here, Alison.
Thank you so much.
All right, so let's dive in because your role as a social worker is primarily focused on helping youth survivors of abuse testify in trials. So what does that preparation look like?
So I work at Victim Services Toronto, and I support young people who have experienced abuse anywhere from 3 years old up to 25 years old as they prepare to testify in criminal court against their offenders. And the abuse can be physical, it can be sexual, human trafficking, torture cases. We've seen it all.
Okay. Wow. Okay, and you are saying that there's a major gap in the system so that once the trial is actually over, what do we know about what a survivor goes through when that trial ends?
Absolutely. So there are two traumas, and they're separate, but they're intersecting. So the first trauma is obviously the trauma of the abuse. The second trauma is the trauma of the court process and testifying, and specifically cross-examination. And so what we know from research, the ACE study, Adverse Childhood Experiences study, is that trauma in childhood can have profound long-term impacts if left untreated on those children as they enter into adulthood.
All right, so how do current post-trial resources kind of fall short? Because honestly, I've never heard of this before.
It is a very overlooked and devastating gap. And essentially, after a young person finishes testifying in trial against their offender, they are left with next to no support and certainly no specialized support. So this program that we're developing at Victim Services Toronto will be the first of its kind in North America, actually.
That's really great. So let's talk about, you know, if there's a general therapist who may be working with a survivor, what do they perhaps miss about post-court trauma they just may not know about?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I hear from young people, because my role is really preparing them to testify, and then I'm with them the entire time that they're testifying in court against their offender. And what I've witnessed, I've done this for the last 6 or 7 years, what I've witnessed after almost every single case is the young person turns to me and they say, court was just as bad, if not worse, than the abuse. And I need specialized support from somebody who really understands not only the abuse, but the entire court process so that I can begin healing. And the worst part of my job up to now has been telling them that this doesn't exist. And I think what many therapists may not have exposure to is really what goes on during cross-examination when children testify. So being routinely broken down by defense lawyers, being told the abuse never happened, you're lying, you made it up, it's your fault that it happened, everything like that, right? And so without a specialized therapist, it's very hard to really help them feel understood, heal from the trauma without having to explain it all over again to someone new, which can be very re-traumatizing.
I mean, when you put it that way, it makes perfect sense. So you mentioned this a few times, but you are launching a first-of-its-kind pilot program in Canada. It's going to support children and youth post-trial. So take us through it. What could this look like in practice?
So I can give you an example. I was supporting 2 siblings a couple weeks ago as they testified in criminal court against their biological father. And they did incredibly. It was a jury trial, and their father was found guilty. And they both broke down afterward and turned to me and said, we need support. And what this program is going to do is that in the past I had to say, I'm so sorry it doesn't exist. That was the worst part of my job. And now I get to say, of course, we have specialized support for you at Victim Services Toronto at no cost. You don't have to wait, and it's available for you whenever you're ready. And it's evidence-based, trauma-informed, developmentally appropriate, with people who really understand and know exactly how to support you.
It's a soft place to land.
Exactly.
Yeah, it must be such a relief for the people going through this. All right, so you're still developing the program right now, but you're starting to pilot it with client referrals. You're including a lot of elements that you feel are missing in the current support system. So can you walk us through what some of those are?
Absolutely. So it's really creating a framework, a blueprint that therapists can follow, that they can use to really make sure that they're supporting these young people after court the way that they should be. So we're doing a few things. First, right now, we're partnering with researchers to learn about, because this is such an under-researched area, to learn about what are the best practices, what is the evidence, how do we tailor this to this exact specific population. We're also going to be developing a survivor advisory group where young people who have survived abuse and testified in criminal court against their abusers, they are the real experts on this. And so we are going to learn from them, what do you want, like, from therapy? How can we help? How can we do things in a way that feels best for you? And then, of course, experts in the field as well.
I know you're in early stages as you're putting this all together, but you say you're already starting to see the positive effects of starting to put this all together. Can you explain that?
I have been inundated, obviously, doing this work specifically for the last 6 or 7 years now. I've had so many clients that I've been honored to support and walk through their journey with them. And I can't tell you how many of them have reached back out to me since hearing that we're doing this, saying, thank you for listening. Thank you for doing this. I have never felt as alone as I felt after court. And to know that you are listening and Victim Services Toronto is building this because we asked for it and because we need it and we deserve it, it means the world to them. I got to call, actually, those siblings who I mentioned earlier last week and tell them that we were developing this and that I can put their names down and they can access this. And they burst into tears and told me how much it means to them to know that specialized support is on the way.
Yeah, that
beautiful.
Such a wonderful feeling. All right, so an initiative like this obviously needs public and government support. So where do you stand on both sides?
So we will take funding from anywhere we can get it. We are off to a great start. We had an incredible fundraising event this summer, and we have found some very generous donors, but we need to keep going. We are just at the very beginning now, and so you can go to the Victim Services Toronto website and find their Donate Now page, and there's a drop-down menu, and there's a button that you can click that says post-court therapy and donate through there. That is kind of our biggest hurdle right now, but at Victim Services Toronto, we are creative problem solvers, so we are going to do it. Nothing will stop us, but the more support that we can have, the better.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Fantastic initiative. So necessary.
I know we don't have a lot of time left, but when is your hope of when this could finally become a reality?
As soon as possible. We are not wasting any time. We are getting right to this.
Good luck.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you for sharing everything that you do and the people that you help here on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we're going to be back. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
Hey, you, come a bit closer. We've got so many more must-see interviews, spicy debates, lifestyle tips, and pop culture moments. So subscribe to our channel by tapping the logo below and don't miss out.